Hi, so now let's see how to do grouping and relapse in Tableau. So basically, when you're loading a file in Tableau, you get this page, and then you can, let's go and load the same FIFA data set. So I'm going to load a text file, and then let's see if we can find the FIFA data set. So here is the FIFA data, and then when you get the data in here, then hopefully this doesn't crash. You get a data preview, that is this one. Here you can see the error that I mentioned before in this data set, and is that the first attribute doesn't have a column name. So what Tableau is doing is just putting F1 in there, and then it's loading all of the data attributes. And then you can go into the first sheet, and when you get in here, remember that you will get all of the dimensions in here, and then all of the measurements. So the dimensions are all the categorical attributes, and then measures are the ones that are quantitative that you can use for aggregation. So when you want to do nesting or grouping, the way you do it in Tableau, like repeating like the same one that we did, for instance, in D3, is just to go and search for the nationality, and just the fact that you add nationality, that is going to start grouping by that. So Tableau, actually, the way it works underneath is that automatically it starts doing that aggregation. So once you get this, it shows you all of the possible countries. And if I, for instance, go and try to find Colombia, and then out of those I try to see the data, it's going to show me that it has this. And then if I go to the full data, then I'm going to be able to see that 618 rows that we were seeing before, and then see what are their values for each one of those. So it's already doing that. And you can also see that reflected when you add, for instance, the number of records. So if I put the number of records, number of records in here, then it's actually, and then use this one to show the values, then it's telling me like the same grouping, like just to make it look exactly the same than in D3, you can do it like this. If you want to do nesting, like it's exactly the same thing. You just put that in here, and then it's going to group first by nationality and then by position, and then it's counting how many players are in each one of those groups. Like for instance, if you go here to Argentina, where is Argentina? Australia, Armenia, Argentina, here, then you can see the high numbers that Argentina has. If you want to do the grouping in the other side, it's just a matter of dragging. So, and in D3 will be like switching the order. Finally, the aggregation, when you aggregate using, for instance, the number of records, as I'm doing in here, then you can decide what you want to use for the aggregation. So you can say I want to aggregate by the sum, or I want to aggregate by the average. Aggregating by the average of the number of records doesn't make sense, because each record only has one record. But it makes more sense for doing it, for instance, for something else. Like, for instance, like, I wonder value? No, value, it seems like a quantitative. But let's say, for instance, like acceleration, this is a number. So I can put that also here. And then this is the total acceleration, and that's a number from 1 to 100, that it's like a statistic. So it doesn't really make sense to have something like 3,000 in there. So actually what I can do is that I can say this should be like the median. And then when you do that, then you can see that, like, I think these are center fields, what acceleration they have. And then let's remove this. And then actually we can move this here and then add this. And imagine that we remove the nationality. And then you can see what are the players that have the biggest acceleration, like for instance, just by sorting like this. So again, Tableau is doing that automatically. It's always important to keep that in mind, that this is an aggregate of multiple elements. So as you're going to see, this is actually aggregating all of the players that play on that position, RW. I don't remember which one is that one. I guess is right wing, I guess. So it's a bunch of elements in there. So usually it's a good idea to use representations that actually highlight that. Something like this could be a good way of doing it, maybe like this. So at least it's showing me a little bit of the information. And I wonder if I can disaggregate the data here like that. That's what I wanted to see. So this is a better way of representing that, because the problem is that if you only use like the average, then it's a measure of central tendency, but you need to show the distribution as well. So if you want to stick with the bar chart, then like I think there might be and for this one you want to keep the aggregation. There might be a way of maybe this one, sure, by cell maybe, but there has to be a way of actually showing the standard deviation in there. So but still keep in mind, like, the whole concept in here is just remember that Tableau is doing that aggregation underneath, so try not to lie too much for that. So I'm going to leave this as a homework. Thank you.